Welcome to our deep dive. We're going to be exploring an excerpt from the Brahma Purana.
A fascinating Hindu religious text.
Exactly. We're going to be tracing the lineage of Manu.
Manu.
Yeah, the very first human, and uncover a family tree full of unexpected twists, heroic feats, and all kinds of thought-provoking connections.
It's like opening a window to ancient India
Oh,
through these really captivating narratives and uncovering the beliefs and values that shaped their world.
so we're stepping into a time machine, right?
Yeah, sort of. We're going to see how gods and heroes and mortals, they're all intertwined in this web of relationships that's just so intricate.
Okay, so let's start with Manu. So he wants a son, right?
Mhm.
An heir to carry on his name, his legacy, all of that. And he decides to perform this powerful ritual. But instead of a son, he ends up with a daughter,
Ela.
Ela.
Ah,
A fascinating character right from the start.
yeah.
Instead of just passively accepting her fate, she goes directly to the deities, Mitra and Varuna, who played a part in her creation. Wow. So Ila's not just sitting around waiting for things to happen. She's taking charge.
Exactly. Talk about taking destiny into your own hands.
That's a great point. It's like independence and this agency are just like woven into her character from the very beginning. But things get even more interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because Ila doesn't stay a daughter for long.
Exactly. Through a series of events, Ila becomes Sudyumna, a male.
Wow, hold on. So we're talking about a gender transformation here in this ancient text.
It's not just a plot twist.
Oh,
It actually reflects this idea of gender fluidity in ancient Hindu thought.
whoa, gender fluidity in ancient Hindu thought. That's not something you hear every day. How does the story actually reflect this idea?
Well, you see, the Brahma Purana doesn't shy away from presenting complex characters,
Yeah.
especially those who kind of challenge traditional norms. And this whole transformation from Ila to Sudyumna really suggests that gender, maybe it isn't always fixed or binary, you know?
I see.
It's like the text is acknowledging a spectrum of human experience and identity, even thousands of years ago.
That's incredibly insightful. And this sets the stage for, well, a very unique lineage.
Right.
So does Manu finally get his male heir through Sudyumna?
He does.
Yeah.
Sudyumna has 3 sons, and they become rulers. And through them, Manu's influence spreads all across the land.
All right.
But Manu's story doesn't end there. He has other sons as well who embark on these diverse paths.
Hold on. So Manu has even more sons.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a really big family here.
It's not just a straight line. It's more like a banyan tree, you know, with branches going out in all directions.
I see, yeah. So it's not just a simple family tree, right?
No, not at all. For instance, we have Narasant. His descendants become known as the Sakas.
The Vakas.
They were known for their nomadic lifestyle.
Oh,
And then there's Nabha. His son establishes the Amarsha dynasty.
wow. So we see all these different lineages emerging from a single ancestor. It really highlights the idea that family history, it's not always predictable, it's not always straightforward. Are there any sons whose stories kind of stand out to you? You know, those with unique destinies or challenges?
Oh, absolutely. There's one that comes to mind, Prashadra. Now, he committed a transgression against his guru, and he ends up facing this really dramatic fall from grace. He ends up in the Shudra caste, the lowest rung of the traditional Hindu social hierarchy.
So even in these myths, right, these ancient myths, actions have consequences. It seems like a reminder that choices really matter, even if you're born into privilege.
Mm.
But Prashadra, he's not the only son with a story, right? You mentioned someone named Ikshvaku.
Yes, Ikshvaku. A key figure, he's Manu's eldest son through Sudyumna,
Right.
and he inherits the central kingdom and
Yeah.
his birth story. It's pretty unusual.
Unusual how?
He's born from a sneeze by Manu.
A sneeze. What? So why is Ikshvaku's lineage so important to our deep dive?
His line is where things get really interesting. His son, Vikukshi, he's a legendary figure, renowned for his strength and for founding the city of Ayodhya.
Wait, Ayodhya, as in the birthplace of Lord Rama. That Ayodhya.
The very same.
Oh, wow. So we're talking about a lineage with connections to some major figures in Hindu mythology.
Vikukshi's family expands Ikshvaku's reach even further, with sons becoming protectors of both north and southern India.
Wow, that's incredible.
And the line continues through notable figures like Shashada and Pruth.
So we're seeing how these ancient stories are connected to places and figures that still hold so much significance today. It really shows how these narratives resonate across time and generations. But it sounds like we're just getting started.
I think I'd say that.
Where does this ancestral journey take us next?
It brings us to a pivotal figure in Ikshvaku's lineage, Shravashta,
Shravasha.
the founder of the city of Shravasti. Now, Shravasti was a prominent city in ancient India, and according to Buddhist tradition, it was one of the 6 largest cities during the Buddha's time.
Wow, so we're talking about a lineage that's connected to both Hindu and Buddhist traditions.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So what happens after Shravashta? Who carries on this lineage?
Well, Shravashta's descendant, Kuvalashva, he's about to become a legend. He'll be known as Dunhumara,
Dunjumara,
the slayer of the demon Dundu.
the demon slayer. Okay, so how does Kuvalashva end up facing this terrifying demon?
Well, it all begins when his father, King Brihadarshva, decides to step down from the throne
Okay.
and pass on the responsibility to his son, Kuvalashva. But they had no idea the challenge that awaited them.
It sounds like a classic passing of the torch, but what kind of challenge are we talking about? Like a rival kingdom
Right.
or some political intrigue?
It's something far more daunting. Yeah. This is where we meet the sage Utanka. He arrives with a dire warning.
Okay.
He tells Kuvalashva about this terrifying demon,
Dundu.
Dundu.
Yeah, whose breath can create chaos. Okay, so we're not talking about your average troublemaker here. Dundu sounds like a serious threat. But I'm assuming Kuvalashva doesn't face this alone.
You were right. The story takes on this divine dimension when Vishnu, a major god in the Hindu pantheon, he steps in to help Kuvalashva, bestows his power upon him, enabling him to confront this foe.
So it's like the gods are taking a personal interest in this battle. How does this epic showdown unfold?
Okay, so picture this. Kuvalashva comes face to face with Dundu, and Dundu's breath. It's so powerful it consumes his sons.
Oh, wow.
It's a heartbreaking loss, but Kuvalashva, fueled by grief and empowered by yoga and the strength given by Vishnu, perseveres.
That's incredible. So even after losing his sons, he finds the strength to keep going.
Kuvalashva's story, it really embodies resilience and courage. He doesn't just give in to despair, he channels his grief. And that divine power, he uses it to vanquish the demon. It's a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit, even when facing unimaginable loss.
And he earns the title Dunhumara, right? Slayer of Dundu. It's a hard-won victory, but I imagine the story doesn't end there.
No, it doesn't. Kuvalashva's lineage continues through his surviving son, Dridhaksha,
Tritaksha.
which leads us down to King Sahastavashta.
Okay.
And his daughter, Hemavati, she adds another layer's intrigue to the story.
How so? What makes her story so intriguing?
Well, Hemavati, she breaks from tradition. She becomes known as Grishadvati II,
Vrishavati II.
a queen who defies expectations.
So we're seeing these glimpses of powerful women in these ancient texts, challenging the assumption that they always played these passive roles.
Right.
Does her defiance have any lasting impact, like on her descendants?
Well, her son Prasenajit, he achieves him, but he faces a rather peculiar curse.
Mhm.
His wife, she transforms into a river.
His wife turned into a river. That's a new one. What does this unusual punishment say about the ancient Indian view of nature?
Well, I think it suggests a deep connection between the human world and the natural world. Nature isn't just a backdrop to their lives.
Yeah.
It's an active force that shapes destinies and reflects the consequences of human actions.
So it's not just about punishment. It's about this interconnectedness. It seems like Prasenajit's tale, it kind of highlights this common theme in mythology, that even those who achieve greatness, they're not immune to misfortune. I'm sensing things are about to get even more and more complicated. With Prasenajit's descendant, Satyavrata.
You're picking up on it. Satyavrata's story, it's a cautionary tale. He commits a transgression, steals another man's wife.
Wow.
He is banished, and his actions bring about a drought in the kingdom.
So it's a reminder of Dharma,
Right.
duty, moral responsibility. His actions disrupt this balance, this harmony,
Yeah.
and everyone suffers the consequences.
But even in this tale of transgression and punishment, there's this glimmer of hope. Satyavrata ultimately finds redemption by rescuing and caring for the son of the sage Vishvamitra.
So even after making this grave mistake, he finds a way to atone for his past,
Yeah.
to show compassion. It's like the story saying that it's never too late to change course and act in accordance with Dharma.
And that brings us to a crucial point about the Brahma Purana. It doesn't shy away from portraying the flaws, the failings of these characters, even within this revered lineage. It's a reminder that even heroes are human, capable of great and terrible deeds.
That's what makes these stories so relatable, even thousands of years later, right? They deal with ambition and temptation, and trying to find that balance.
And I think that's what makes exploring Manu's lineage so compelling. It's not just a list of names and dates.
Right.
It's a reflection on the human experience with all of its complexity and contradictions.
It's like we're peering through this window into another time,
Yeah.
another place, but we still recognize the struggles, the triumphs that connect us all. So as we're reflecting on this journey, what stands out to you as the most intriguing part of this whole thing?
For me, it's the layers of meaning within these stories. On the surface, we see these captivating adventures, these transformations, but beneath that, we find these profound reflections on human nature and morality and the cyclical nature of life and death.
Yeah, it's amazing how these myths, how they weave together entertainment and these philosophical insights. It's like each generation adds another chapter to this ongoing saga, contributing to a larger narrative that continues even to this day. And to think, we've only just explored one little branch of the Brahma Purana, this excerpt, the one we've been focused on. It's just this little tiny glimpse into this vast and intricate text.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Brahma Purana, it's filled with countless stories and myths and teachings,
Yeah.
each offering a unique perspective on, the human experience and nature of reality. It's like this ancient library of wisdom just waiting to be uncovered.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Manu's lineage, what are some of the key takeaways for our listeners to kind of chew on?
Well, one of the most powerful messages, I think, is the importance of Dharma.
Dharma.
Right. So many of the characters we've met, they face these difficult choices,
Yeah.
and those choices have far-reaching consequences.
Yeah, for sure.
And their actions really shape not only their own destiny, but also the fate of their families, even entire kingdoms.
Like a ripple effect.
Right. Like a constant reminder that, we have a responsibility to act in a way that aligns with our values.
And to consider the impact of our choices, not just on ourselves, but on everyone around us. It's
Yeah.
like these ancient stories, they offer this framework, this ethical decision-making framework,
Yeah.
reminding us that even the smallest actions can have these huge consequences. But Dharma is not the only theme that emerges from these narratives, is it?
Oh, no, definitely not. We also see this incredible resilience.
Brilliant.
This ability to overcome adversity, to find strength when facing loss. Kuvalashva's story, that's a perfect example.
Using his son, yeah?
And yet he finds the strength to carry on. It's like a testament to the power of the human spirit, even in the face of just immense loss.
It's a message that goes beyond time and culture, right?
It really does. I mean, that's one of the most amazing things about mythology,
Yeah.
Its ability to connect us to these universal truths, these shared human experiences across time and across cultures.
Yeah.
These stories, they resonate with our own struggles and our own triumphs.
So even though these stories might seem so ancient and so far removed from our modern lives, they really do have relevance for us today.
Absolutely. They give us insight into human nature, the consequences of our actions, this interconnectedness of all things. And it reminds us that the challenges we face, even though they're unique to our time, are often echoes of the challenges faced by, those who came before us.
It's like we're all part of this ongoing conversation, adding our own experiences to this tapestry.
Yeah, it's a tapestry of human existence.
Right.
Filled with darkness and light, with despair and hope.
And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from our deep dive today. That life is this journey with challenges and opportunities for growth.
And even when we face adversity, there's always this possibility for redemption, for transformation, for continuing the story.
So before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about lineage and how it shapes identity in these myths, but how does that idea translate to us today?
That's a really interesting question. Do we still carry the stories of our ancestors?
Right. And how do those stories shape who we are today?
I think that's something worth exploring. We all have our own unique family history,
Yeah.
our own tapestry woven from the experiences and choices of those who came before us.
Right.
And whether we're aware of it or not, those stories influence our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions.
It's like we're all links in this never-ending chain connected to the past and present and future.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe by trying to understand those stories, we can really appreciate who we are and what potential we hold inside.
That's a really beautiful way to put it. I encourage all our listeners to embark on their own journey, explore their own family history, and discover the stories that have shaped their own lineage.
You might be surprised by what you find. And who knows, maybe you'll uncover an epic tale of your own.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed exploring the Brahma Purana and the wisdom that it has to offer.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those stories alive.